Right, we're here at Villa Park after what's been a demolition job by Manchester City against Aston Villa. It finished 6-1. Sergio Aguero with a hat-trick, breaking all records. He's the top hat-trick scorer in the Premier League with 12, 176 goals. The top foreign 177.
Yeah.
Top foreign scorer in the Premier League. You know, he's won it all. He's a brilliant player, and is he now the greatest striker that's ever played, foreign striker that's ever played in the Premier League?
Yeah, well, you can look at it two ways. You have the Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods scenario. He's got the most majors, but is he the best ever player? Tiger Woods is. I think Sergio might be that at the moment. I think he probably won't be the best player ever to play as a striker in the Premier League, but definitely the best goal scorer and way up there in terms of goals, what you think when he first come to the Premier League he was ever going to get. But then after a while, bang, all these goals started happening. He finds the groove. He's still finding the groove now at 31, so he's probably got another 50 goals in the Premier League, 60 goals to get, and then he'll be off.
Interesting to look at two players there that have maybe struggled to find a bit of form in this Manchester City team, but they stood out today. João Cancelo, the right wing back, or he's played at right back, and also Rodri, who's the man, I suppose, who's meant to take over the throne from Fernandinho. What did you think of their performances today?
Yeah, I thought both were excellent. Cancelo going down the right, made some good lines, played some good through the lines. Possession based football when he come inside off the line. I thought he was excellent. I think Rodri was really good today in terms of on the ball, kept taking over, was in good positions to stop them playing. I suppose he didn't have much of that to do, but was excellent. I think against better teams Rodri will be tested better than what we did today, and there's more pace in other teams to hurt him. So today was a case of Man City with the ball were outstanding, never really got tested without it.
Yeah, it's interesting as well looking at City, because look, we've spoken so many times about the likes of Kevin De Bruyne, Gabriel Jesus, Riyad Mahrez, these kind of players, but Pep Guardiola, the manager, has shown over the last couple of games that, against Manchester United, he didn't play a striker. He plays two today. He's really messing around and meddling with his formations. What's he doing? What's his plan with these kind of games, with the change of staff in the playing team?
I think he's
formation?
Trying to keep it nice and bright, not repetitive for when the Champions League games come along. I think if you look at the front three tonight, with Jesus from the left, Mahrez on the right, and Aguero to the middle, that is very, very good. And then you think, all of a sudden you forget Raheem Sterling. And you think, okay, well actually, where is he going to play? But he's going to play, for obvious reasons, the goals he scored this year. So Jesus comes out of the team. But if you can find a way of putting all them four into a team, you would have a hell of a lineup. But I don't think you can. I don't think you can afford that many luxury players against a really competitive team where Aston Villa weren't. He could have probably tested it today. He might even test it down the line before the Champions League games. But when that Champions League games come around, Real Madrid, Jesus will be on the bench and Sterling will be playing. That's just what it is and how it is.
Yeah, you'd have to feel, look, with 14 points between them and Liverpool at the top now, it could be 17 if Liverpool beat West Ham, that the Premier League is done. You've said it on air with Nathan already. So the big thing for Man City is they really want that Champions League trophy. They want the European Cup. That's what the owners want. But the big weak point there, you'd have to say, is at the back. And do they have the defenders to carry them right through to lifting that European Cup at the end of the season?
Yeah, you necessarily don't have the defenders, you just got to outscore teams. I think that's what he'll be looking at now. They've got some severe firepower going forward, but with their defenders, can they add a real, well, there's no Van Dijk out there, that's for obvious reason, obviously without saying, can they find a Van Dijk out of nowhere? I don't think so, and I think they'll really struggle to, but maybe Pep Guardiola teams can't afford a real top class defender. They can, that's silly saying that, but if you know what I mean, that they play so high up, and any defender's going to be isolated anyway in the team they play and how they play.
Yeah. Looking at Aston Villa, look, they've got bigger fish to fry, I suppose, after today, because this one of those games, I see you just write it off, you chalk it off. They've got a couple of big matches coming now against Watford and Brighton. They're the games that Aston Villa have to be winning, don't they? Yeah,
well, they're 6 pointers now, but before them games come along, there needs to be some reinforcements coming quick. They've been trying to get 2 strikers in the window. It's very difficult this window to get any kind of striker, let alone 2 in the window. So they've got a big recruitment job to do. They need some players, they need some reinforcements, they need to start a clean slate and revitalise the team, because the team's going to be flat.
What do you think about the link that was made about maybe possibly bringing in Olivier Giroud from Chelsea on loan?
Yeah, well, I think they're trying to get Chouta Motang as well, who was at Stoke, who's at now PSG. I know they like the look of him as well. Whether they get anyone in through the window of that quality, I'm not too sure, but someone like Giroud, even for them, would be a big coup. If they can get him in through the window, I would bring him into the team. He brings people into play, but again, he hasn't got that much pace. I think they're really missing Tabby Abraham, what they had last year to stretch teams. Can they find one of them? Would even the boy at Arsenal that come back from Leeds, could he go into their team and play? He probably possibly could, because they have pace. He puts pace in the team. I think they're lacking pace.
How do you think Conor Horan will be feeling after today? Like, that was really, it was such a tough day for him.
Yeah, but do you know what? He's an experienced pro now. He's been on the high. He's been on many hidings. He played at Barnsley for a while. Don't forget, I'm sure he got beat 4 or 5 today. He played in the team today where I don't think the manager helped him. If manager played a flat 3 in midfield, which only allowed him to close down the right back, didn't really allow him to close down the centre midfield. It was very difficult to get close to people. Listen, the whole 3 in midfield will be having nightmares tonight on the result, but he didn't. He wasn't allowed, I don't think, get close enough to people, and I think the manager's got to take responsibility. Speaking
of Irish players, of course, another Irish man making his Premier League debut yesterday, Adam Idah. It was a tough day at the office for him as well. It's making your debut at Old Trafford against Manchester United, but I suppose it's just an indication of how well things are going for young Irish players. They are around the fringes of these big clubs. It was interesting reading Richard Dunn during the week. He did an article for the Herald, the Independent and the Irish Independent, and he was just talking about, it's one thing making your debut, but it's, what you do afterwards, how you react to that, and keeping up, I suppose, the hard work and the effort. You know what it's like yourself, Stephen, to try and make inways into a Premier League team. Would you back up what Richard's saying? Yes and no, but as a young lad these days, making your debut, how hard it was. Listen, you're making your debut at Old Trafford. It's not hard. He's a young boy. They don't suffer defeat like an older, experienced player does, and they don't take it to heart. He scored a hat-trick during the week. He might come down a little bit off the cloud he's on, but from an Adam Idah point of view, get back on the horse again and you go again. Exceptional young talent, there's a few of them there. It's not easy to hold down the place in any team, Championship or Premier League. So you got to go and you got to be competitive. You try and do your best, and if your best fails, then so be it. That's how I want to see it. How the young players in Ireland should be treated the next 2 or 3 years, treated with care, treated with respect. There are players in the Premier League in England and the Championship that all around the world are trying to play in the league. So they're there for a reason, because they're good players, and let them enjoy it. Not put too much pressure on them, but hopefully they'll come good and they'll fulfil their promise. Adam signed a long-term deal as well with Norwich at the start of the season. The fact that he's got that chance now in the Premier League. Now look, Daniel Farke might decide in the next couple of weeks that he'll keep him on the bench. Maybe he mightn't get that much game time. But do you think now, with the fact that he's got that game under his belt, he should hang around and maybe not look to get out on loan to another club? Yeah, well, that's for Norwich to decide in terms of the progression they see Adam going on and the route they want to go on. Don't forget, they're probably 90% relegated already. So they're probably thinking, right, Adam Idah in the Championship next year, can we build him up? Can we get him ready for the Championship? If Pukki's going to be coming back, he's going to play, and then Adam's got to be ready for next year to play in the Championship or Premier League for Norwich. But for me, it'd be 3 weeks a long time in football. If he's playing regularly in the Premier League, great, even better. He's getting experience. He's been exposed to the limelight of being a Premier League player at an early age. But 3 weeks, if he's not playing, then what do? Do you send him to the Championship club where he might not play, where the rewards are so high and so little? If you get relegated, the pressure of it, do you send him to a League One club to get game time and develop as a player? Yeah, possibly. There's definitely no doubt that Michael Obafemi and Aaron Connolly will get games at Brighton and Southampton. Troy Parrott, he's an interesting case now, because I think a lot of people felt when Jose Mourinho came in that he might struggle to try and get game time at Tottenham. It does look like Jose hasn't changed his ways, that he still finds it hard to trust new young players. So what does Troy Parrott do now? Does he hang around, try and make the breakthrough into the first team? Because from what Mourinho was saying during the week, he doesn't have a replacement for Harry Kane. And I can see where he's coming from, because maybe Troy Parrott isn't that kind of target man striker that Harry Kane is. So what does Troy Parrott do now? Yeah, maybe he's trying to take the pressure off Troy as well. And like you say, all of a sudden I have one man to play centre forward, and that's Troy Parrott. The whole of Ireland explodes with excitement, and the whole of England draws attention to Troy Parrott. So he's probably not necessarily going to say what he's thinking really. Only time will tell if he's on the bench, if he can come on as a sub, can he get game time that way. But for me, Troy Parrott is even too young to go on loan. Give him another year, develop there, let him not put the pressure on him. He's been seen as the next Robbie Keane for obvious reasons. His talent, there's 3 or 4 of them are like that. But let him settle into Tottenham. Let him learn a little bit from Jose for sure. Not too much, because Jose can be, as you say, damaging sometimes on young players. So let's see what he brings to Troy early on, and then go from there. Just to finish the conversation as well, Stephen, because you would have a great extensive knowledge of what's going on in regards to player movement and that in the UK. You know, we heard some, well, to ask you first, because it is the January transfer window, can you see any players out there that might be on the move this month from an Irish perspective?
From an Irish perspective, well, Glenn Whelan has left Hearts at his own accord to get away from the manager, by the sounds of it. By his interview is pretty clear. It's clear as anything that he didn't like him. He's got to get game time to play in mixed team.
Yeah.
He was, I have to say, Glenn Whelan was exceptional against Switzerland. I think at home he covered every blade of grass and was one of Ireland's better performers on the night. So he's got to get a team where he's going to play regularly to be concluded in mixed squad to have a chance of playing against Slovakia. Go for the team. Randolph has got get the West Ham deal over the line in his favour. May I add, he's in a strong position of what happened with Fabianski on Friday night. He will certainly move to a club. He's out of contract, I think, in 6 months, so he'll move from Middlesbrough. Going for Matt Doherty probably just played himself out of a move in terms of how good he is and what limits he has of where he goes. Seamus, I think Seamus got a big 3 months ahead of him, battling for his place at Everton, but knowing Seamus, bring it on, like he'll take it, whatever's coming his way, he'll fight for it. So really exciting, centre forwards point of view. We could do it. McGoldrick scoring a couple of goals. He's battling that demon at the moment, and the longer it goes on, the worse it'll be. So, but he's playing very well. He's confident. His build-up play is very good. Just needs that goal now. You
name-checked Andy Lyons before the game,
Yeah.
Stephen. A player I know for myself going to games back in Ireland that he's very highly thought of in the League of Ireland. He, of course, has had a trial with a couple of the clubs over here, Crystal Palace being one of them. First of all, do you think he can make it at a Premier League club or a Championship club?
Yeah, well, first of all, do I think he's a good player? Yes. Do he has he talent to go across? Yes. When is the right and wrong time? There is no right time. It'll come when it's going to come to him. If it comes, great. If it doesn't, then he continues to play the way he has been playing the last year or so at Bows, then he'll get his move. And that goes for quite a few of the Bows young boys, actually, including the goalkeeper, including Finnerty at the back. There's quite a lot of good young players. Mandrew as well has drawn attention. So there is League of Ireland players that would rather be in the window now than not in the window. Unfortunately, they're not playing in the window. This is the time really where they could possibly get a move. Makes it difficult that they're not playing, but gives them a chance hopefully down the line of. You say about playing, but I quite enjoyed going to Bows games last year and watching them play at Bows and progress. And listen, James Finnerty come home on his own accord to play football, men's football. And then he gets home and you think, okay, well actually I played men's football, where do I go from here? He's probably ready to go across again at a certain time. So keep his head down, work hard, and a lot of them will prosper in football for sure.
And finally, just because Bows did nail down a couple of those players with 18-month deals last summer, and very astutely, you'd have to say, why then is it so hard for League of Ireland clubs to get money out of the clubs in England? Why do they always seem to try and take the League of Ireland clubs for fools almost?
Yeah, history will tell you they don't pay a lot of money for Irish players because that's the market, that's how they do. I think the boy from Shamrock Rovers went for an awful lot of money to Man City, but Man City is not the real market either. So you look at it and go, well, what's his worth to another club? Well, not anywhere near what they pay. Man City paid for him. So I would say, from a dealing point of view, to broker a few deals or to look after players I do in Ireland is easy, but it's for the wrong reason. If I moved a player from Waterford to Wexford, just say for example, I can move him out of Wexford. I can have a deal agreed with Wexford to take him to England. Now that shouldn't be the case. That shouldn't be allowed to happen. That rule has to change. There has to be a compensation rule put in place from the FEI where they do put a line in. If you've played for a club, they can have good compensation. Because if I moved Andy Lyons from Bows to Pats, say now, and had agreed a deal with Pats to sell him for 10 grand, Bows probably lives out in 40-50 grand of his real value, or whatever his real value is. So there's definitely have to change the rules to stop people like me manoeuvring deals for people. That's me being straight. I have to do that. I have to get the rules right. There's a bit of work to be done within the League of Ireland to get it right. Not the FEI, the League of Ireland both have to come together and sort out all the rules and regulations, because at the moment it's in turmoil. Yeah, because there are good players coming through a League of Ireland clubs, and that could be a great way for them to make money in the future, if things are put right. Yeah, well, the league is trying to develop, and all that work underage, them players that we're seeing there, Troy Parrott, Adam Idas, there's players in Ireland that are coming through from this league as well and benefiting from that. So we've got to make the most of that, and them players are playing well for League of Ireland clubs. Our young players have a decent amount of ability, can go on again for sure.